Hi there, I'm Mike. What I have for you today is my 2016 Star Wars The Black Series checklist. And I need to get the rest of these figures up on the shelves. I'm kind of running out of room. Anyways, let's get into 2016. Probably the worst year for Star Wars The Black Series. First, we're going to start off with the regular numbered boxed figure releases. The very first wave released in 2016 was kind of a continuance of the Episode 7 train, starting off with the regular release of the First Order Stormtrooper. This is number 12. This was the second First Order Stormtrooper release. The first one was a Toys R Us exclusive one with the commander's shoulder pauldron, the officer thing. This one is just the regular guy, and he's fine. He's just fine. I like the Stormtrooper designs from The Force Awakens and, sequel trilogy. The next one is one that I didn't find for quite some time. I actually found this one, number 13, sitting on the shelf at Toys R Us on my way to work one morning, and the only reason I found him is because he was broken. The tray is cracked up here, and I'm thinking the person that saw him left him there because they wanted it perfect. That's actually twice it's happened in 2016. We'll get to the other one later. But General Hux is, he's fine. He's fine. It was actually our first officer figure that we got in the entire line, and that kind of paved the way for Krennic and Grand Moff Tarkin and all the cool new ones that we have as this kind of generic officer body mold that we got. I feel like that kind of paved the way, which is super nice. Anyways, Hux is good, but his face is awful. And that's going to be a running theme throughout 2016. It was the worst year for faces. None of them were bad, but they were close. And lastly, one of the best figures from the line, oddly enough, this is Ello Asty, one of the X-Wing pilots from the Resistance. He's actually, fun fact, an homage to the Beastie Boys' Hello Nasty album. He also, I think the arrow besh on his flight helmet says licensed to ill. That's just kind of cool. I like that. I like the flight suit. I think he was actually in my top 10 figures of 2016, which is my second highest viewed video on my channel, weirdly enough. Moving right along into the second wave released in the middle of 2016 somewhere. I think it was around April, May. I can't really remember, honestly. So let's get started with number 15. This is Jango Fett. And this is kind of an odd man out. First of all, he's a prequel character, hooray, but he's a prequel character released in a sea of the Force Awakens figures. So that's just kind of weird, but I'm not complaining too much because he's a fun figure. And I don't think I actually put him in my top 10, but I still really do like him. The likeness to Temuera Morrison's pretty good, although I know I say this a lot. I would prefer if they had swappable heads instead of removable masks. I feel like it lowers paint wear, it's just easier. I know it's not a big deal, but it's something I like to point out. The rest of the figures from this wave are all, again, from the sequels, The Force Awakens. Starting next with number 16, the First Order Flametrooper. Now, this is the first figure from this wave I found, and I was absolutely stoked to find it. Later, he became a pretty big peg warmer. He was peg warming hard for a while. When this was the current wave out, I found just rows and rows and rows at Toys R Us of this Flametrooper. Who doesn't want hundreds of flame-throwing Stormtroopers in their collection? I couldn't understand it that much. But I really like it. I did a review of this one. I think I did a review of this whole wave as one long video, and you can go watch that if you want to. Next up, we have number 17, Finn, FN2187, right? Yeah, that's right. And this is, I think, the best Finn we've received so far. He's just a First Order Stormtrooper. He comes with all the normal Stormtrooper stuff. His helmet has the bloody fingerprints on it, so you can tell he's Finn. I really like everything about this. I do have to say, though, that the hair on my Finn has rubbed away a little bit because of said helmet. When you put it on and pull it off, the paint just rubs away. That's why I don't like removable helmets. It's a bad idea. I feel like if you have a painted figure with painted face and you rub against it, it's just gonna happen. And then lastly, in the wave, number 18, we have Han Solo from The Force Awakens. Just granddaddy Han Solo with his baggy old man pants and his, pretty decent likeness to Harrison Ford. This is a pretty good figure, especially if you like The Force Awakens and older Han Solo. This figure is the reason why I bought the Chewbacca from this wave, so I could have a Chewbacca that went with this, because you can't have Han Solo without a Chewbacca. It's just stupid. And moving right along to maybe the best wave released in 2016, We have number 19, Kanan Jarrus, who I believe was my number 1 figure from 2016. I loved this figure. It was just really good. I like the way the lightsaber comes apart like it did in the show. I like his gun. I like his face sculpt. They just did a really good job making a stylized animated character come to life in 3D form. And that one's followed by number 20, Ahsoka Tano from, again, Rebels, because she's an adult and not a kid like she was in the Clone Wars. And she's also really good. My only problem with her is she kind of falls over because she has tiny feet. Other than that, she's great. She's got a soft, good skirt. She's got a great face likeness. She comes with 2 lightsabers. I can't say enough good things about this figure. I really like it. And then rounding out number 21, Luke Skywalker in his Tatooine outfit. One of the first and biggest disappointments of many in 2016. His lack of accessories was awful. He should come with a Stormtrooper belt. He should come with a Stormtrooper gun. He just comes with, binoculars and a lightsaber. He could have come with so much more. He could have come with a blast helmet. There's just a lot of things he could have come with, and he didn't. He just comes with basically himself in an awful shirt and a mediocre likeness at best. And again, just like the last wave, I reviewed this whole wave as one video, and you can go back and watch that. I might have a card or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Also, if you didn't notice, we're back to kind of The Force Awakens figures with that wave. So this next wave was part of the Force Friday 2, but it wasn't Force Friday 2. But I swear they called it just regular Force Friday again. But I guess going back, people calling it Rogue Friday. But these were the figures that came out at I think it was the beginning of September for the Rogue One movie that was being released in theaters that December. Starting with the figure that you all probably saw too much of, and the figure that almost killed the entire line. Well, this and the next one. This is number 22, Jyn Erso. And the problem with Jyn isn't really that she's a bad figure. She is a boring figure, that's for sure, but that's not necessarily bad. And I actually didn't review any of these figures. I feel really bad. I don't know, I think I just felt overwhelmed at the time, and by the time I kind of got back into reviewing, I was already too late and new figures had come out, so I just didn't want to review them. This figure, along with the next figure, almost killed the entire line because they kept re-releasing this for some reason. They repacked this figure like 3 times. On top of repacking this figure 3 times, you'll see that they released her a couple more times in different things. And it was too much, guys. It was just too much. What were you thinking? This shouldn't have been that bad, but they made it so bad, just oversaturating the entire market with this. The other problem I have with this figure is they tried something new with the faces, and it's just a really soft kind of beauty filter over the face. You know how like you have Snapchat or whatever and it has that beauty filter that smooths over your skin? It's like they did that with this, and they did that with all the faces for human characters like for the rest of the year. It didn't look that good. It doesn't look good here. It doesn't look good. I'm so glad that we moved past this, but this was a definite, this was the low point in the line figure paint wise, likeness wise. It was just bad. Next was her counterpart, number 23, Cassian Andor, and this is a weird choice because this Jyn does not match this Cassian. So I don't know what they were thinking with this, but they should not have released this right here. It was a weird choice. His hat comes off, he's got 2 guns. It looks like he's about to head to Hoth though, not necessarily about to hang out in, Raintown or whatever. Yadu. These guys shared the similar problem where they released both these figures. They repacked them in like 2 or 3 waves. So they were just oversaturating the shelves. If you went to Walmart or Target or Toys R Us at the time, you just saw just a sea of Jyns and Cassians. In fact, you probably can still find them on shelves because it's ridiculous. I think at one point they discounted this so much that you could buy them for pennies, like literally pennies, just to get rid of them. Moving on to number 24, we have K2SO, a figure that should have come with a blaster but didn't. Other than that, one of my favorite figures of the entire line. I really like this figure. I like the way he stands, like his proportions, like everything about him. It's also our very first variant of the year, and this came out in September, so it took a while to get there. But this is the silver-eyed variant. The original release is also a red-eyed variant. If you want to go out there and look, you could probably find it. And then rounding out the Rogue One release figures, number 25, we have the Death Trooper, the Imperial Death Trooper, if you will. This is the figure, when I saw the trailer, I was like, yes, that toy. I want that toy. And I got it. This is the toy. This is it. And he's great. I really like troopers, and I really like black troopers. And, this is that. And I did say rounding out the Rogue One figures because this last one is kind of a hop back to the Force Awakens. This is the Unmasked Kylo Ren. This is just basically the exact same figure from the Force Awakens Force Friday release with Kylo Ren, but the lightsaber is a little different. He comes with a hilt and then a fully functional lightsaber instead of that weird removable blade thing that the last one did. As far as I can tell, the body's the exact same. He just comes with a Kylo Ren unmasked head, and again, he just has those weird soft features that are just awful. They're just completely devoid of paint. I'm sure if you painted them, they'd look great, but there's no paint on them at all, and it just looks terrible. All right, and now we're at the penultimate wave of 2016, starting with number 27, director Orson Krennic. I really like this figure. Again, all the faces from this wave have that weird soft face problem that is pretty awful. His cloak is a hard plastic cloak that I kind of wish they would have done soft goods, but it's an Imperial officer body with, you know, Ben Mendelsohn's head, I guess. So why not? He comes with a fun gun because he used that in the movie. It's just good. I like him a lot. Next we have number 28, the Scarif Trooper Squad Leader. Now say what you want about Rogue One, but its biggest accomplishment is all the rad trooper designs and introduced to the Star Wars mythos. This Shore Trooper that we called it, or Scarif Trooper, is one of the big ones. This is the Squad Leader. He's got the blue stripe. He's got a little skirt thing. And the last figure from this wave is number 29, C-3PO Resistance. This is a Force Awakens figure. And you can tell because he has this red arm. I know you probably didn't recognize him at first. You might also know that my box is absolutely trashed. I found him at Walmart like this. I would like to think that someone didn't purposefully do this to a box just to make it less desirable for someone to come in and buy it. I really hope that's not the case. I found it like this and I was heartbroken, but at the same time, I wasn't not gonna buy it. I care about the figure, not necessarily the box, but I kind of care about the box. This is a pretty bad box. There's actually a different version of this 3PO figure. I believe he has a darker arm, so there's a light red arm version and a dark red arm version. I actually don't know which one I have because I'm colorblind. I'm pretty sure I got this right away, so it's probably the first version that came out, and that's fine. Okay, so moving into the final wave of 2016. Before I go through this wave, I want to say that this is the first box that I bought as like a full wave, and I'm super glad I did it because I never saw any of these figures in stores once. Never saw them. They weren't in stores. Starting with probably the worst figure released in 2016. Oof. This is number 30, Princess Leia Organa, a figure that should have been just a masterpiece. We got maybe the worst likeness of any figure ever, and that includes that weird Poe Dameron. It just does not look like Carrie Fisher even a little bit. Her face is the wrong shape. They also just made a lot of really weird design choices with the body and the cloak and things like that I wasn't a huge fan of. It's really bad. Moving on to the next one, we have number 31, the AT-AT, or AT-AT, if you will, depending on when you grew up. This has pilot, but they did correct this later to say driver if you bought the later re-release, because you don't pilot one of those, you drive them. They don't fly. They just kind of walk along the ground. I like them. I like troopers. I've always liked this design. I'm glad they released him. I'm glad I got him. We're getting some classic Empire Strikes Back. This whole wave is like a lot of great classic figures. Next we have 32, Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is the A New Hope Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of my favorite figures of the year for sure. He comes with a cloak. I don't know why they did it here. They did it here because I feel like you pretty much always saw Obi-Wan wearing his cloak with the one exception of him being at home. I almost bought multiples of these just so I could have multiple cloaks because I'm not going to make cloaks, but I didn't, and I think I'm better for it because spending 20 bucks for a cloak is just ridiculous. Next we have the third Rebels figure released in 2016, and that's Sabine Wren, number 33. One of the best Mandalorians ever. I can't really back that up with anything, but I really like her. Rebels is a fantastic show, and she's a fantastic figure from it. She has a removable helmet, which I haven't had any paint rub on so far, which is super nice. She's got both her guns. Now this is the first release. There was a second release where instead of the holsters pegging into her legs, they just hung down. And I kind of wish I had that, but I'm not buying a new version of this just for that. Next we have number 34, Darth Revan. Now this is the reason why I bought the case, because I figured even if I did find any of these other figures in the store on the shelf, I would never find this one because this was the fan's choice figure, and this is the figure that everyone just went nuts for. It was, you know, whatever, it's fine. But I'm glad, again, I bought the whole case because I never saw any of these in stores. Although now, you can go to Best Buy and find just solid cases of these. So that's nice. Little fun fact, if you're looking for a Revan, he should have a little Legends tag next to him that all the newer Legends figures do, but it's fine. And the final figure released in 2016 is number 35, the regular old Snowtrooper, which I like this design. I like his face mask. I like his shirt. I've always liked the Snowtrooper design, and I'm super glad that we have him. I had to buy a second one. The first one that I got had 2 left forearms. So next we're gonna go into the exclusives. These are figures that weren't part of the regular line, but they were still part of the Black Series, and they were exclusive to specific retailers, so they don't have numbers and things on them. And I'm actually gonna start with the figures that I don't own, because these were the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Like I said before in past videos, I don't prioritize the convention exclusives because they always get re-released in the main line, and you'll see that. While you're missing some things, it's just not worth the hassle of trying to track one down or buy. Even though I think all these were eventually released on HasbroToyShop.com, I didn't want to buy them and own them twice. So let's start off with Obi-Wan Kenobi. This was San Diego Comic-Con. Same Obi-Wan Kenobi that was released later in the line, but this came with some extra stuff. He came with his cloak, he came with his lightsaber, just like the regular one did. But he also came with a little table with a hologram Leia that apparently spoke. I haven't heard it. He also came with an Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, because you don't have enough of those, right? I couldn't be bothered to buy him because I got him in the regular wave, because again, I'm not a carded completionist, I'm a figure completionist, and I already had this figure. The next one was another Comic-Con release, and I don't know if it was a San Diego Comic-Con or a different convention, but it's the Unmasked Kylo Ren. The same Unmasked Kylo Ren that we got on Force Friday. But he comes with, again, some extra stuff. He came with a First Order banner. He came with both the unmasked and masked version of his head, something that we didn't get with the retail release. He also came with the charred Darth Vader helmet. Of all the figures that I didn't buy, I'm actually really disappointed I didn't buy this one just for that reason. And lastly, San Diego Comic-Con, we got Jyn Erso. It's the exact same Jyn Erso that they released in the regular line. Down, like, there's no difference other than the box that she comes in, and she came with like 4 cards, like little picture cards. Like, who cares? So not only did they release her a bunch of times in the regular line, but they also had a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version of her, and that's just, it was a weird choice. So let's get to the figures that came on a regular box or card or whatever, but that were store exclusive. Starting with the Toys R Us exclusive figure that came out on Force Friday, the Imperial Hovertank pilot. He's basically a Scarif trooper down here and a slightly different helmet up on top. And I love his design. I really wish they would get a 6-inch version of the Imperial Hovertank, because I think it was an awesome vehicle, but I can't imagine how much it would cost, because the vintage version is already way expensive. Next we have the Walmart exclusive, just regular Scarif Stormtrooper. It boggles my mind that they made him not part of the official kind of regular release. He should have been the figure released in the line, and the squad leader should have been the exclusive one, because this was pretty hard to find. I love this trooper design, super excited that we got it, and that's it. And lastly, in the regular carded releases, we have our Walgreens exclusive for the year. This was C-3PO. It's mostly the exact same release as the red armed version, but he's, properly colored for the original release. He doesn't have any elbow articulation. His paint job is really dull, kind of gold instead of shiny, which is kind of a bummer. He looks fine on the shelf. He might be a little bit too small. All right, next we have another Toys R Us exclusive release in 2016. This is the Yavin Battle 3-pack astromech droids. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think so. These are all astromech droids that were piloted by people that were in the Battle of Yavin. Specifically, Wedge, Biggs, and then Red Leader. I mean, these are pretty important droids, and it's always nice to have extra droids on your shelf. The only problem is this was still $60. And that was a hard $60 to pay for just, 3 droids. And I did review this on my channel if you want to go back and look at that. Next, we have 2 exclusives from a place that you would have never guessed. And actually, if you watched the last one, you probably do guess, because this is the other half of the Starkiller base Kylo Ren that was released. This is the K-Mart exclusive Rey in Starkiller base. She's basically the exact same Rey we got in the regular The Force Awakens release, but she does have some snow paint on her shoes and things like that. She comes with this little base and then an attachment piece so you can put both bases together. She comes with her lightsaber, which at the time they did not release the lightsaber for the regular Rey, so this is like how you got a Rey with a lightsaber if you wanted one. She's okay. And secondly, we got maybe the best Jyn release. This is also Kmart exclusive. Now, I ordered this from Kmart.com and it came in literally like a paper bag. It was awful. This thing was crushed. Like I opened it up and it was just absolutely crushed. Her legs are a little weird, like they're wobbly. It comes with a really cool Iadu base. She's got her cloak, she's got a breathing mask, she's got a little baton thing, which at the time no one knew what it was. She's got 2 guns, a regular hip gun and then an actual Stormtrooper blaster. I really like this Jyn. I think she's really good. I probably should have reviewed her, but I didn't, and we're moving on with our lives. We also never got anything else to go with it. I felt like this base should have connected to something else as well, just like Kylo and Rey's, but I think Kmart are they out of business? Is Kmart still in business? I don't know. I don't think there's any plans to do any more of these. Next, we have another release from the Force Friday, although I think it came out a little bit afterwards. This is a 3-pack. This is a Target exclusive, and the reason I really wanted this is number one, 2 of these figures are fantastic. We have a Death Trooper, which is pretty much the same Death Trooper that we got in the regular carded release. However, it's like the officer version where he has a shoulder pad, like harness. He's got his like webbing. I really like that. I want another Death Trooper for sure. Number 2, we got the Cassian Andor that we should have gotten originally. I don't know why we didn't. He even comes with a really cool gun that kind of you put together, which is also awesome. And then for some reason, they gave us the exact same Jyn Erso that we got in the regular line that got re-released 100 times. And then the same one that came in the SDCC like exclusive. This is again the same figure. I don't know why they did that. It's bizarre. I've literally never taken this out of the package. I just don't care. I'm not ever going to do it. She's never going to leave it unless I sell her for some reason. But I paid $60 for $40 for the figures that I wanted, and then also a Jyn Erso. And I hate saying things like that because Jyn shouldn't be getting the hate that she gets for this. It's not her fault. They re-released her 100 times, but they did, and I hate her. But I don't. But I do. So we're winding down. This is the last figure release from this checklist. I don't exactly remember when this came out, but I'm pretty sure it was the end of 2016. I think it was sometime in November. This is the Order 66 Entertainment Earth exclusive 4-pack. Now I know you could buy it like this where it came of one of each flavor, but then I also think you could have bought them solidly packed with each color, and I didn't want to do that. I just got one of each because they're not different. This was a fantastic release. In fact, I think all of these collectively got a spot on my top 10 list. These are the figures right here. We got the 501st Legion, we got the Coruscant Guard, we got the 212th Attack Battalion from Utapau. I'm reading the back. I don't actually have this memorized. And we got the 442nd Siege Battalion. What I love about these figures is they just went above and beyond with the paint and the wear. And I love them so much. They look great. And if you can find them, I highly recommend buying them. They're well worth the $80 that they cost. I don't know if they go for more or less now, but I'm pretty sure you can still get them. And with that, those were all the figures that were released in 2016. At least I'm like pretty sure they are. I don't think I missed any. I will try to get to my 2017 checklist soon. 2017 was a pretty good year for the Black Series, although I think 2018 has been the absolute best year, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you thought of my checklist. Did I miss anything? What was your favorite? What was your least favorite? Did your opinions match mine? You know, all that stuff. I love to read and respond to those. There's also a bunch of different ways down in the downstairs area that you can kind of help my channel out if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm good. And then also, you know, like, share, subscribe, the normal YouTube stuff that people say at the end of every video, because that's just how YouTube works. And that's it. Thanks for getting this far. I'll see you later. Bye.